Hey guys, welcome back to another foundation road test. This one is looking at Neutrogena Hydro Boost Hydrating Tint. This foundation is supposed to moisturize and plump your skin. It contains hyaluronic acid, and as someone who is in my 40s, I am always looking for something to give my skin a boost, a radiance, and this is supposed to do that. And I've heard some good things about this, and you guys have been asking me about it, so I wanted to go ahead and take a look at it. I am interested to see how it wears on my combination skin that gets oily in the T-zone, but again, as someone who is always looking into things that are anti-aging, this did intrigue me. It is what I have on my skin now. I'm going to take you through the application and what it looks like and feels like upon application in a minute, but before I get started, as I do with every foundation road test, I want to take you through what it claims, and that way we can see if it actually performs how it's supposed to at the end of this foundation road test. What Neutrogena says about this foundation is that it moisturizes and plumps skin for 24 hours. It doesn't settle into fine lines. It boosts hydration for 24 hours for more radiant, smoother skin over time. It's better for your skin than wearing no makeup at all. Make up your skin better even after you take it off. Interesting. Oil-free, non-comedogenic, weightless, no makeup feel, and it's non-greasy. Okay, so there are 10 shades in this foundation, and when I was actually looking for my shade, it's a bit difficult, as you know, with any drugstore foundation to find the right shade. So I grabbed Natural Beige shade 60, and I'm just crossing my fingers that it worked, because it kind of seemed like the next shade that was yellow toned enough for me was really a lot lighter, and then the next shade was too pink. So I don't know, it's kind of a crapshoot. It does have this big doe foot applicator, kind of like that Clinique Super Balanced, is that what it's called, foundation. I'm still on the fence about this doe foot in a foundation. I kind of think, I don't know, it's kind of pointless, but we'll see how it goes. It is retailing for $15 or $14.99 for 1 ounce of product. And right now Ulta is showing buy one, get one 50% off. So as with most drugstore foundations and things of that nature, I always say wait for a sale if you can, some kind of special, because it's $15. That's what, half the price of a department store product, and by the time you get the right shade, a lot of times you are in department store prices. As with every foundation road test, I try it out in a multitude of ways over the course of several days, sometimes a couple of weeks, to see how it applies better and how it wears better for my particular skin type. And of course, it's going to vary for everybody. Different primers work well for different skin types, and different applications work better for different people too. So I just give that disclaimer: what works well for me may or may not work well for you. But I do like to give it a thorough test before I throw out my summary at the end of the road test. So today I have on my Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer, and I'm using the Beauty Blender on this side of my face and a foundation brush on this side of the face. I do always top my foundation with translucent powder of some sort, always. Oily combination skin, I just have to do that. So today I used IT Cosmetics by Pores translucent loose setting powder, and I am trying out 2 different concealers under my eyes today, so disregard that if something wacky is going on with that. I'm not really sure. I won't know until I actually view this back. And as with every foundation road test, I will give you guys check-ins along the way, and I will give you my summary at the end so we can get on to the application. So the shade I picked up is Natural Beige, and I am just gonna hope that this shade works well for me. Some of the shades look really pink, so we'll just hope this works. And it does have this big doe foot applicator, which I am still on the fence about myself. I'm not sure how quickly this dries on the skin, so I am just going to do it kind of section by section, and I will do the Beauty Blender side first on this side. Okay, so I started out with a minimal amount and I am gonna need more. So I'm just gonna dot some more on and go to town. So it seems to have done a good job with covering up any redness from what I can see when I look up close in a mirror, and it does look pretty skin-like. So I'm pretty happy. It's not overly shiny. I do still see some of my red spots and sunspots, so I'm gonna try layering it and see how well it layers. So while it layered well, I don't feel like it necessarily did anything better for the coverage. It didn't get any cakier though, so that's good. I'm still gonna need concealer. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other side with the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe No. 6 Flat Top Buffing Foundation Brush. I've been loving this brush lately, and I'm just gonna try covering and layering where I need it the same way, but with a brush. It looks good on both sides. It is definitely sheared out on the Beauty Blender side a little bit more, I think. It looks more like skin. There's no diffusing of the pores like there is on the brush side. I'm gonna try and get a little bit closer so that you can see some more pores on this side versus this side with the brush. It feels a little bit tacky when I touch it, but hopefully that'll be resolved with powder. I'll let you guys know in a minute once my makeup is finished. But I don't know, I feel like it applied easily with the brush. I'm not usually a fan of using a brush. It looks pretty good on both sides. I'm gonna finish the rest of my makeup and get back with you guys. So this is what it looks like on the skin, and I actually think it's a decent color match, but the tackiness did go away, and I feel like it feels weightless on the skin like they claim, and it looks to be a very natural coverage. I actually forgot concealer, so that's why the spot still is showing. I mean, I have it under my eyes, the two different concealers that I'm testing out, but it is a light natural coverage. This is not a medium to full coverage foundation. It's not going to give you that full medium buildable coverage. You can try to build it. I just don't feel like it gave me extra coverage, but it didn't get cakey, and it does look good on the skin. I think it does. So I'm gonna wear it throughout the day. Hopefully I'll have time to check in later. If not, you know, I'll be checking in throughout the rest of the foundation road test, and I'll let you guys know how it's doing and check in at the end. So I've worn this several times now, and every single time I've worn it, I have forgotten to show you guys what it looks like in daylight. And today I put it on without a primer, which I don't ever do that. I always feel like when I wear foundations, I need a primer underneath, or they tend to slide off my face. But I decided to try it that way since it does have really good ingredients for your skin, and I did lightly mist a setting spray over it. Just very, very lightly, simply because I didn't use a primer. And I have worn it without a setting spray on it too, and of course I always set with powder. I've had it on 6 hours, and I have touched up one time very, very lightly with one blotting sheet, and I lightly dusted translucent powder on my face, very lightly. And I'm gonna get a little bit closer as I usually do, but I kind of think I have more light to medium coverage today with the concealer and everything that I have on. And I feel like there's something about this foundation that gives me light or light medium coverage, good skin-like coverage, but it still makes my skin look good. And it's probably the hyaluronic acid, and I'll get more into that in my summary at the end, but this is what it looks like in daylight. I am trying a new under eye concealer, relatively new. It's probably my 5th time wearing it. So if that looks different, that's why. But anyway, that is it for today. Hey guys, I am back with my verdict on Neutrogena Hydro Boost Foundation. So let's talk about this bottle first. I like the sturdiness of the bottle. It does seem like it is a sturdy plastic. I thought it was glass at first, but it's plastic, which I prefer. Excuse me if I'm glancing at myself because there's a lot of cloud cover and I keep getting blown out and very shadowy. So if I have to adjust my light, just bear with me. But I do not like this doe foot applicator for foundations. With concealer, it's one thing because you take the doe foot out, you dot it where you need it, you put it back and you're done, or you put it on the back of your hand and use what you need. With foundations, you don't get enough out with the doe foot for a whole face application. So I found that I would pull it out, I would stripe it on my face, redip it, stripe it on my face, redip it, stripe it on my face, and be done. And then if I needed to layer, I would have to get it back out. And even if you wanted to put it on the back of your hand, you would have to redip it like 3 or 4 times to get the amount of coverage you need on the back of your hand to put it on your face. So not to mention, it's not very sanitary. I just think it is very unnecessary and very fumbly. I just don't like it. And I was pleasantly surprised with the texture of this foundation. It's a moussey gel-like texture. I was expecting to have more of an oily, greasy texture from a hydrating tint that's supposed to moisturize and plump the skin. So from someone who has combination oily skin, the moussey texture was very pleasant. It felt more like I was putting a lightweight moisturizer on my skin rather than what I think of when I think of tinted moisturizers. I found that this was very, very quick and easy to apply, and it applied very, very smoothly to the skin no matter what method I used. And I tried it in various ways. You guys know by now how I do my foundation road test over the course of several days to a week or 2, depending on what I do. But I applied it over sunscreens and primers and just over my skin without anything underneath it. I used a brush, my fingers, a damp, dry beauty blender, and I just never had a problem applying this. It never stuck, it never streaked. I found it very, very easy and quick and smooth to apply. I found that a damp beauty blender really sheared out the application a lot. So if you wanted a very sheer application, then using a damp beauty blender would give you that. It just lightly evened out redness for me and gave me more of a true tinted moisturizer application. Using my fingers gave me the most coverage, and using a brush was my favorite method. I just found that using a brush was a lot quicker and it worked beautifully. I loved applying it with a brush. So the coverage is kind of in between a tinted moisturizer and just your typical BB cream and a medium foundation. And I feel like that is a coverage that is very rare to find. I feel like you get foundations that layer and give you that medium to full coverage, or you get tinted moisturizers and BB creams that are really, really light. I feel like that coverage type is really rare, and this fits that bill nicely. It just gives you such a nice natural skin-like finish, kind of a satin skin-like finish, how your skin is supposed to look like when you don't wear makeup, except when I don't wear makeup, my skin turns into an oily, greasy mess. And so when I wear this, my skin looks how I want it to when I don't wear makeup, if that makes sense. It evened out redness really nicely, but it didn't cover red spots. So you would still need concealer if you do have red spots on your face, which is fine by me for a sheer to light medium foundation. What I did find is that when I tried to build it to get extra coverage, I might have gotten a teeny bit extra coverage, but not very much. So it doesn't build really well, but it doesn't cake up when you're trying to build it. And as for transfer, it is not transfer resistant. It does wipe off a little bit. I had to be a little bit extra careful when I blew my nose or did anything like that. And I just brought a little touch-up powder with me when I was on the go, just in case. But it's not transfer resistant, so that is negative if you want something to be completely transfer resistant. This is not going to fit that bill, but you know, if you're looking for a hydrating tint, transfer resistant doesn't usually go in that same category. but I still liked it anyway. The one thing that I really didn't like about this foundation is that it did oxidize, and I found that there was really no rhyme or reason to the oxidation. It oxidized sometimes when I didn't use a primer or sunscreen. It oxidized when I used sunscreen one day, but it didn't another. I'm not sure what the issue was, or if it was just how I slept the night before or my skincare the night before, what it was. So I kind of gave up on trying to figure that out. I just knew that some days I was going to need to wear bronzer on my neck because it would oxidize, and it didn't oxidize to an orangey tone. It just got a little bit darker sometimes. I just don't know why that is. So it's something to keep in mind if you are going to buy this foundation. I definitely wouldn't go down in color. I would go your shade or a little bit lighter just in case, because I don't know, I just found that happen sometimes, but it didn't happen other times. And sometimes it oxidized right away, and other times it would be a few minutes later. I don't know what the deal was there or why it happened. So this is a hydrating tint. It's supposed to moisturize and plump. It contains hyaluronic acid. And I do find that it did make my skin feel really good. It felt light, like I wasn't wearing foundation. My skin did feel nice and hydrated, but it never felt oily all day long. I feel like I had this on some really long days, 10 to 14 hour days, and I never felt like I was an oil slick. Even when I needed to touch up, I felt like, okay, I'm a little shiny and I need to blot and put on some translucent powder. And it happened maybe 2 to 3 times a day, and that was it. There was one day, it was a 14-hour day, when my son told me that I looked shiny, but I had been home for like 5 hours and I hadn't blotted at all. But even then, I felt like, okay, I'm shiny, but I'm not an oil slick. And when I took my finger and did like this, it wasn't oily. So it was kind of just this healthy, glowy shine. I looked in the mirror at the end of every day. Nothing was ever broken up or splotchy looking or dry looking. My skin just always looked really good with this on it. So it did give me just that good, healthy look about it. And I firmly believe in hyaluronic acid. If you haven't tried anything with it in there, I'm kind of digressing. But I would encourage you to. I added a skincare item with it in there, I don't know, about 6 weeks ago maybe. And I have noticed a distinct difference in the way my skin feels. And I do believe the claim when they say that wearing this foundation is better than not wearing anything at all, because I just felt like my skin just looked and felt so much better at the end of the day. So the couple times I really didn't like this foundation were when I tried to fight it. And what I mean by that is that I tried to make it something it wasn't. You know, this is a hydrating tint foundation, and what I had done was wear a mattifying primer and a more matte powder and used a setting spray, and I was just trying to make it into this more medium matte coverage foundation, and that's just not what it is. It's supposed to enhance your skin and make it look better. Those were the days when I just really felt like it didn't look good. It just looked just not like it was supposed to. It wears really nicely. It doesn't settle into lines. It doesn't break up. I feel like it looked really good in flash photography too. It's just a good foundation, I think, to have on hand if you want a foundation that really enhances the skin and that goes from sheer to light medium coverage. And for me, I think it gives me a foundation to where I can still look really nice but not look like I'm wearing a heavy foundation. So this was a successful foundation road test, which I needed after my last one, which was not. So I hope you guys enjoyed this foundation road test. If you haven't watched any of my other ones, I will link those down below and right here on the screen. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you here on a regular basis. And if you are not following me on my social media, I'll put those on the screen and down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.